So he goes and he finds Jesus and he's going to challenge him. So what do you mean we need to be born again? How does someone old go back into the mother's womb to be born again? And Nicodemus is like you and I. He's straight. He doesn't see anything. He knows what the law is, and that's what the law is. And there's no black or white. It's just straight. Everything is by the book. And being reborn again, but being born in the Spirit. And really what that means is we're looking at baptism. For us, we are looking at baptism. For we were reborn in the Spirit through our baptism. And we have been transformed through our baptism. So I can honestly say how happy I am to have a new focus on Lent. Because I used to hate Lent. It was a torturous season for me. But it's No, we can't.